Hi, this is Maria Vision USA. We are coming to you from St. Joseph, Missouri. We are here at the Cathedral of St. Joseph with Father Stephen Hansen. St. Joseph Cathedral is a Jubilee site for the Jubilee Year of Hope 2025. And Father Hansen, thank you so much for having us.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming. Welcome to St. Joseph.
Thank you.
The cathedral, the Jubilee site, is one of three in our diocese of Kansas City, St. Joseph. And the cathedral is the first cathedral built on this in the state of Missouri, west of St. Louis. In 1868, the diocese was created, the Diocese of St. Joseph, by Pius IX. And Pius IX created quite a few dioceses actually at that time. And St. Joseph was a vast area in this part of the state. But in 1880, just 12 years later, Kansas City was exploding. So then he created the Diocese of Kansas City. So it has the cathedral there. That's why we have two cathedrals in our diocese. But the faith here actually started, the town is called St. Joseph because the founding fur trading father, his name was Joseph Robidoux, and in 1838, so 30 years before the Holy Father created the diocese, there was a little visit at a log cabin where Father Desmet, a Jesuit missionary, there's actually Desmet High School in St. Louis, he made his way west, met with Joseph Robidoux, offered Mass in his log cabin, and that began the faith here. And then it was 1838. I think it was 1845. The first parish was created, the parish of St. Joseph, with Father Scanlon. And then again in 1868, the Holy Father creates the Diocese of St. Joseph. Construction starts here in this area. It was called St. Joseph. The Cathedral Hill started in 1869. The first Mass was not on the Feast of St. Joseph, but it was on the Feast of St. Patrick in 1871. So the bishop gave the pastor the permission to offer the first Mass then. And I think the bishop arrived on the Feast of St. Joseph for the first Mass, Father Bishop John Joseph Hogan.
Wow. Wow, that's quite a history. Now that original St. Joseph Church, do you know where that?
It was in the bottoms, and it no longer exists. And the story is that St. Joseph's Church in the bottoms here in St. Joseph, every Sunday they would have to shovel out the mud because the rain would come down the dirt streets into the church. So that was one of the reasons I think that Bishop Hogan decided to acquire this land up on the hill. And I might say that this massive cathedral, if I can talk about money, it cost $88,000 to build.
Really?
Didn't have the windows in it yet, but can you imagine how many bricks, how much this would cost today? But it's a beautiful church. Bishop comes regularly during Christmas time, Easter time, other events, some ordinations from time to time and things. So it's his church, and we're glad it's still in good shape, and we're proud of it here in St. Joseph.
Oh gosh, I don't blame you. And here's our beloved St. Joseph right here.
Yes.
Now, is this from 1985, the statue?
You know, thanks for asking. I think you're probably right. Yeah. It's marble statue. Mm-hmm. It's been here since I've gotten here. That looks probably correct.
Beautiful. Wow.
Yeah.
And is this the highest point?
I don't know. I don't think it's the highest elevation in the city. On the south end, you can see there's a tower there. There's actually a parish of St. James on that side of town, but we're in a relatively high area. And at one time, St. Joseph was a thriving community, as you can imagine. It was actually the railroad came this way, and it was a place where the merchandise was, and that's why the Holy Father created the diocese. And then it had to do with the way that the train was going. Instead of going over the river, it went south and wrapped around in Kansas City. But the Pony Express, you might know, started here. So even the way of taking mail out to west started right here in the city of St. Joseph. But it's a beautiful town of 75,000 people. For pilgrims that would want to come by this Jubilee year, we're a half an hour from the airport, the Kansas City International Airport, called KCI or MCI. And we're an hour north of the city of Kansas City.
Wonderful. So easy to get to. We did
Very
it
easy to get
ourselves,
to.
yes.
Yes, right on Interstate 29.
Right. And I see that there is a lot of churches in St. Joseph. I mean, there's a combination, I would think, of Protestant and Catholic churches.
Right. In the city itself, there are 6 Catholic churches, and then there are some on the outskirts, just 15 miles north and things like that, but quite a few. It's like somewhat Catholic area. I think we'd say 20% would be Catholic. So the Catholic presence has been here since way back in 1835, but including I oftentimes joke with the people here, and I'll say we could be Roubaduville, but we're the city of St. Joseph. So we're glad that Joseph Roubadou named us St. Joseph.
Yes, that's so neat.
And behind, next to the cathedral here on the site, we have a beautiful, which used to be where the bishop's offices were, and it's where our office is now, where we live, 1883. Behind that is a convent where you'll be visiting later. That was built in the early 1900s. And next to that is a school which was opened in 1901.
Wow.
So there's a lot of history here. The school has been going since 1901.
Really?
We have 160 children in K through 8. We have a St. Gianna early childhood center with something 90 children in it. It's almost full. And the convent, the Sisters in Jesus the Lord, as you know, are residing there, and they're missionaries to the Russian Far East in Vladivostok, Russia, just north of North Korea. But it's got a great history, and it's still alive, and we will welcome any pilgrims coming from near or far.
Yes, exactly. Yes, we do hope that pilgrims will come to visit your beautiful church here, your beautiful cathedral.
I mean, we do have 2 first-class relics for veneration in the back of the cathedral, both hung and presented for the faithful with the permission of the bishop. One is St. Jose Maria, and the other is soon to be St. Carlo Acutis. As you know, that his canonization was delayed, and I haven't heard the dates yet, but Blessed Carlo Acutis is both our first-class relics for pilgrims to take a prayer card and touch it to the relic and take it with them.
Yes, I did that.
Did you? Good.
Yes,
Good.
I did too. Hopefully they'll make it back to my children. So
Good.
yes. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, well, these are wonderful, beautiful grounds, amazing historical buildings, quite a history of St. Joseph, the town, and the
faith.
cathedral.
Yes, and the faith of the people, which is still very much alive, which is great.
Beautiful. And is there anything that you would want to share with pilgrims and Catholics in general for the Jubilee Year of Hope?
Yeah, I think, the word that comes to mind after I was praying about this and thinking about this was the word patience. That Paul says God is patient, and we all know that we need the faith that's given to us oftentimes by our parents, but sometimes by God directly, which touches our heart we request baptism and faith, but also to keep the hope alive, we have to be patient. God's ways aren't our ways. We have the faith, and we want to, as we make this pilgrimage, literally this walk of rediscovering our faith, we want to do it with great patience.
Absolutely. As in Corinthians, love is patient, love is kind. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Father. Can we go ahead and look inside for a
Come on
little?
in.
I was particularly struck by both the statues of St. Joseph and the Blessed Mother. I mean, marble statues.
Right. And there's also one of the Sacred Heart in the back, but having these up front is beautiful. They are marble. They came from Italy, actually. And I think my recollection is actually in 1901, the same year the school was founded, the statues arrived. The Infant of Prague also was 100 years old.
And the angels, the guardian angels on the side.
Right. Those are solid marble guardian angels.
And the crucifix up above.
That was added. One of our pastors had gone to Europe and brought it back in the mid-1900s, or early 1900s, maybe.
Yeah,
and
the
inside
are gorgeous too. This church.
Inside the altar, inside the altar, which you can see here in the main sanctuary, is a relic of an interesting saint. He was a missionary from France to China, and the French missionary priest Saint Théophane Venard, who died a martyr's death in 1861, so just 2 years, I guess 7 years before the diocese was created, and 10 years before the first Mass. This is a new altar here. It's not the original altar, but Saint Théophane Venard, his relics are there, and he brought the faith to Vietnam. Here we are. Saint Joseph was an ordinary man. He was a foster father of Jesus, the father of Jesus, the husband of Mary, but he worked. He worked, and Jesus worked along his side for 30 of his 33 years. And it's a beautiful saint to have in the Cathedral of St. Joseph.
I agree with you.
The statue of St. Joseph and its altar actually came from a convent. And I believe it came from
A local convent?
a local convent of this. These sisters used to teach at the high school.
Beautiful.
Yeah, very beautiful. Ite a Joseph. Go to Joseph. In the year of St. Joseph, we had a very special guest here at the Jubilee site. The heart of John Vianney was here for a whole day. Yeah, 5,000 pilgrims came in one day. The line coming in the front doors never ended. Never ended. And it was really touching. So, but going to Joseph for many favors. I mean, Pharaoh said, "Go to Joseph. He's the one you can trust." And actually, that's where this verse comes from. Genesis, iti ad Joseph. Go to Joseph comes from Genesis, and that's the same on the bell up in the choir, up in the bell tower. It's a huge bell, and it says it has that quote from Genesis. Listen to the voice, the commands. With the ringing of this bell, heed the commands of God, and then it's go to Joseph, go to Joseph. So it's a beautiful, beautiful side altar and the statue here in the cathedral in this Jubilee site in this year of hope, Jubilee year of hope. And Joseph too, you can think of being a patient man. He had to be patient. He was living with God and with the Immaculate Conception. He probably had to be patient with himself. But he would be patient with God's plan when he would have his dreams and be told what to do and how to trust Mary and where to take Joseph, flee to Egypt, etc. It was a good model for hope for us.
Definitely, definitely. Hope and patience.
The Sacred Heart statue came with the statue of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Remember I said 1901? Those came from Italy. So before this, the statue of St. Joseph came, these were up front, the Sacred Heart and the Blessed Virgin Mary. We actually have a hope of doing a little bit of a restoration in the cathedral, and if that were to happen, we would probably move St. Joseph into the middle, and we would move the Sacred Heart up front. But it's a beautiful, solid marble statue. Beautiful to see people kneeling and praying and lighting candles.
Beautiful. What about the stained glass?
St. Anthony. Yeah, St. Anthony.
Oh, I love St. Anthony.
And juxtaposed to St. Anthony is St. Therese, the little flower.
Yes, perfect. And is there, there's always a history with stained glass windows. Do you know the history?
Yes, I don't know the history of the stained glass windows. As I mentioned, in 1871, when the first Mass was offered, they weren't in yet. As far as I know, they're the first windows and the only windows that were put in. There's protective glass on the outside now. The stations were repainted, were touched up and restored in one of the major renovations. I think at one time they were in wood frames, and it was, but they're beautiful.
They are.
We have stations twice a day on Fridays during Lent.
Wonderful. It's a church of pastels. It's beautiful, the color scheme and.
There's a beautiful statue of St. Joseph in the vestibule too. This was a gift to the cathedral. It's actually 160 years old. It's a wooden statue. And again, on the stand, the words were there again, Ite a Joseph. But this is a wooden statue, and it's beautiful, beautiful gold leaf painting. And I think my recollection is it came from Belgium. We've only had that for a few years here at the cathedral.
It's a beautiful addition. Gorgeous. I love it. Oh, wonderful. And then, is this Orthodox?
I'm not sure what these were here when I got here as well. St. Anne and St. Joseph. St. Anne might be a gift of the Altar Society, which is named after St. Anne. I don't know.
Wonderful, Father. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
For welcoming
You're welcome.
us, for letting us tour your beautiful cathedral, for giving us a little bit of history, as well as your Jubilee, Year of Hope message.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. We look forward to adoration and Mass.
Yes, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Hi, this is Maria Vision USA coming to you from the convent of the Cathedral of St. Joseph in St. Joseph, Missouri, which is a Jubilee site for the 2025 Jubilee Year of Hope. With me today, I am honored to be here with Mother Stella from the Sisters in Jesus the Lord. So Mother Stella, thank you so much for having us here in your chapel with our Lord Jesus present. Could you tell us more about your order?
Yes, thank you. Our community started almost 22 years ago in order to help revive the Catholic Church in Far Eastern Russia. We have a brother community, the Canons Regular of Jesus the Lord, who went there in 1992, and they were able to get the historic Catholic Church back and fully restore it. And when Mother Julia, our foundress, when she met them, she asked what their greatest need was, and they said, sisters, because they had been able to open 8 different parishes up and down the eastern coast of Russia. So she put an ad into their Vladivostok Sunrise newsletter, and I saw that ad and came.
Amazing. Mm-hmm. So Vladivostok, Russia, and now your diocese. Could you tell us more about the diocese that you're based out of?
Yes, we're in the Diocese of Irkutsk, which is named in honor of St. Joseph. So that's a beautiful connection with our diocese here. And our diocese is the size of the continental U.S. And there are about 35 Roman Catholic priests and about 50 sisters in that whole territory. Because, of course, the Catholic Church is very small in Russia. But our bishop lives in Irkutsk, which is a 4-hour flight northwest of us.
Wow. So you all are very spread out there in Russia?
Yes. Yes.
Wow. It's amazing. And your particular charism with your order, I know you're devoted to the Lord. Is there anything else you can share with us?
Yes, we're canonesses, especially devoted to evangelizing through the parish, really building up the faith of the parish as spiritual mothers, and doing that in particular in Russia. The ways that we usually serve are through sacred music and liturgy, through catechesis. We have a college student group also, and also through pro-life outreach.
Oh, wow. And what does your pro-life outreach look like?
In recent years, our pro-life outreach has focused mostly on healing retreats after abortion, specifically Rachel's Vineyard. It's this beautiful weekend retreat program.
Oh my gosh, that is so needed. Such beautiful work. Wow,
Yes,
that's
thank you.
amazing. And how long have you been here at the convent here at St. Joseph Cathedral?
We were able to move into this beautiful convent about 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
And we came to St. Joseph in the year of St. Joseph. And we just had to wait a little bit for the convent to be restored.
Amazing. Wow. It's just so incredible how there's all these connections with St. Joseph, and yes, it's clear that you are meant to be here. And I know that Father Hansen is so excited to have you here. So we are so excited to be here to meet you during this Jubilee Year of Hope, especially. Is there anything message that you would like to share in light of the Jubilee Year of Hope?
Yes, maybe two things. One, behind us here is this beautiful icon of Our Lady of Fatima. And this is a copy of an icon created in Russia and they named the icon "In You is Unity." So I think one aspect of during this Year of Hope is to really pray for Our Lady's intercession, to keep bringing us together, especially to reunite Christians around the world in a time when Christianity has really, we're not the majority everywhere, you know, and to really bring us together, especially East and West. Yes. And the other message for this Year of Hope, relating back to those Rachel's Vineyard retreats, it's so important, if anyone has experienced an abortion themselves or has been part of helping someone else to have one, the pain and the wounds go very deep, and often they don't even come to the surface for 10 years or more. But there is hope and healing, and it's just a beautiful program, and there are retreats offered now all over the world. So it's just through rachelsvineyard.org.
Amazing. That is definitely a reason to be hopeful.
Yes.
Well, wonderful. Well, we are so grateful once again to be here with you. What a beautiful convent. What hope, really, the fact that this was a convent, then it became a preschool, and now it's a convent for the sisters in the Lord Jesus. So
That's right.
We are so happy that you're here.
Yes, thank you. And if anyone would like to get in contact with us, our website is www.cjd.cc.
Perfect.
And you can find more information there.
Absolutely. Do check them out. So thank you again, Mother Stella. And this is Maria Vision coming to you from St. Joseph Cathedral in St. Joseph, Missouri. We are in the convent of the Sisters in the Lord Jesus. So God bless you, Mother.
Thank you.